I wanted clout, bro, which I've got, yeah.
What kind of person would want clout from something like this? You know, like most people were hiding their face. They're like, I was here, but I was not here. Like, pretend you don't even know me, Bonnie, and all these people. And this guy's like, I actually want clout. Like, this is not a good thing to have clout from. So, back in the day, adult content used to just be girls and guys selling their body through porn or through OF and just doing very standard things. Immoral, but still, you know, standard things. But nowadays, it's changing. It seems that consumers of this kind of content are just very getting used to that standard dopamine hit that they were getting with this more normal content, and now they just want crazier and crazier things. That's the demand, and the supply is also out there, of course. And that's exactly what we're seeing with girls like Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips, as I was saying in my last video that I will link here if you haven't seen it yet. But these two girls started just like a standard OF where they were selling their bodies, showing pictures, doing, you know, the kind of things that they do in these pages. And now that's really not enough, it seems. And they're in this weird competition to see who sleeps with the most men in the same day, which is insanity, of course. Lily Phillips started out with the 100 men in a day challenge, which she ended up breaking in tears after. And now we're seeing Bonnie Blue is doing the same, but with 1,000 in a day. Like, that was not enough, and she's doing 1,000. And of course, it makes us wonder what's next, because it's not gonna just end there. Like, there's gonna be some girl that's like, oh, I can do 2,000 and I can do 3,000, whatever. But the thing is, we always see it from the perspective of the girls, which, you know, understandably, we're like, what kind of person is this? What kind of psychological profile does this person have to even go through this in the first place? But today I want to switch things up a little bit and actually see it from the perspective of the men that were involved in this to begin with. So, of course, most of the 1,000 men that were part of this Bonnie Blue 1057 men in 12 hours challenge, they never told anyone. I assume they hit their face, maybe just kind of told their friends if they were like 18 or something. Of course, never told their wives or any of that. But surprisingly, or maybe not, I don't know, there's some of them that they're comfortable, I guess, sharing with the world that they were part of this degenerate situation, and they're even proud to show it. And that's what we're going to be looking at today, because some of them have literally come out and film themselves talking about it. It's all very, very disgusting, and I think it's time to look at their perspective as well and what role they all play into this. So before we get there, hi guys and welcome back. I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. As you see, it's a new channel, it's growing. I would love to have your support. Please subscribe, give me your likes, and give me your comments, and let's get into it. So let's get into the context of this whole event, because a lot of details have been released, and if you wanna lose your faith in humanity with me, let's get into it together. So on screen, you probably can't see the whole picture because, you know, YouTube will not allow me to post that, but I'll post some sort of blurred picture of the events that Bonnie Blue herself shared, but it's basically her with a bunch of men with their faces covered. And of course, that's very interesting, because if you have to cover your face to be at any event, if we can call this an event, or to take part in anything at all, or to be seen with anyone, then probably not only are you at the wrong place, but you're hanging out with the wrong people, you're doing the wrong thing. At least that's how I see it. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if there's ever any excuse to be covering your face and be proud of yourself, but maybe to these people there are. Apparently though, it was actually her own team that was passing around the masks, and most of the men, of course, were taking it because they don't want to be recognized. And she does film the whole thing, but we will see later the ones that are proud to have taken part of this, how they just took their masks off and like filmed themselves talking about the event. So here's Bonnie after finishing the 1,000 men, and she's gonna be telling us how it all went.
Big 1,000 was completely done. So it started off, I'll give you a bit of an overview, gangbangs after gangbangs to start with. It was just like, the room was absolutely full. Then we did groups of 5, like one after the other of 5s. I wanted to give people more time, so then it went down to like one-on-ones, didn't it? So like one person would watch whilst I was with somebody, and then it would literally just be like a rotating circle like.
So this is important to share because a lot of people were questioning whether this even took place, because they're like, how does that even happen? But yeah, that's the point. She wasn't with one at a time. She was with many at a time. So that's how the numbers worked out in her favor, I guess. By the way, this is the mansion where it all took place. It's valued, it's worth like 15 million pounds or something. And the owner used to actually host himself like sex parties in here. So it's kind of like notorious for that. So that's why Bonnie, I guess, took it for this thing. This is the owner, who apparently is like a whole fraudster or something. Like, he's known for doing fraud. I mean, of course, like, what kind of people are they gonna hang out with? You know, she's not gonna be hanging out with just a normal, like, good person. She's gonna be hanging out with a fraudster who used to host sex party in his 15 million pound mansion. And this is the look of the room after it was all done. Can you imagine the smell in there? Because in the Lily Phillips documentary, they were saying how after 100 men, which is huge, it's a huge amount, but like after comparing it to the 1,000, it kind of seems smaller. They were saying how bad it smelled. So can you imagine after 1,000 how terrible this room must smell? Like it's I mean, it looks grimy. Like just imagine being in there. I don't even know how people could potentially get turned on being in such a dirty space, but it's beyond me. Okay, guys, so now let's get into the man that actually took part in this event and that shared their experience. One of them is this guy, Ali. I don't know how you would say his name. I think I'll call him like Ali. I don't know. But he went viral because he did this article on the Daily Mail. And we're going to see him be like super proud about that in just a second. But basically here, he shares his experience with us. Basically, Ali tells the Daily Mail that he got to his place and was immediately overwhelmed because there were so many men in this mansion. And apparently, like, they were all standing in line super quiet. It must have been so awkward. Like, they were just standing in line without ever saying anything. Like, he was saying that you could hear a pin drop, which, again, like, imagine how uncomfortable that must have been. Like, just standing in line, waiting for this weird event, like, knowing you're all going to be doing the same thing with the same person. And like, how do you even look at each other? No wonder they were quiet. They're probably like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. But anyway, he got there and he was just like overwhelmed, and apparently he like took breaks and like went to lunch, like waiting in line. And then eventually he ended up, supposedly, because I think it's weird, we'll see why later, but apparently he ended up not going through with the event because he expected it. I don't know how, like, he got to that conclusion, but he expected that he was gonna have like one-on-one time with Bonnie. Again, I don't know how he thought so, because there are only 24 hours in a day and there were 1,000 men lined up to be with her. So I think he thought it was just gonna be like him and Bonnie having this time together, and that's just not the way it ended up being. And once he saw that it was like many men at once, he was like, I'm out of here. And he actually supposedly didn't go through with the event. And it's also very funny because he describes himself as shy. Like, he's like, oh, I'm actually a very shy person and that's why I didn't go through with it. And I'm like, if you were shy, it's quite interesting, because I just can't imagine a shy person being in this kind of place to begin with 1,000 men who are gonna look at you like I just can't imagine it happening. But even if that could happen, because whatever, it's anonymous, whatever, there's no way he would have filmed himself. Like, we're gonna see him briefly talking about this in front of the whole world and then doing like a whole article for Daily Mail. Like, that's not what shy people do at all. So I just think it's BS. I'm not even sure that he didn't go through with it. I think, I don't know, who knows? You guys can tell me what you think. Also, he was saying how there were cameras all around, which Bonnie Blue also shares. Like, they have 12 hours or so of filmed material. So it's just not really an intimate setting. Like, it was like a whole filmed setup basically, which is the opposite of intimacy. Another thing that he does share is the fact that there was like strict security and that the men who were coming in had to give their IDs and they were checked to make sure that they were not drunk. And it's interesting because Bonnie Blue actually uses this as like justification for why her events are good for barely legal teens, like 18-year-olds or whatever. Because she's like, oh, well, where else do 18-year-olds get their IDs checked and get checked to not be drunk? Like, she's using all that, but, you know, whatever. Of course, they have to do that. Like, it's this whole process. And I haven't really heard much about the whole STDs. Like, I know with Lily Phillips, they were using some STD control. But at the end, she ran out of, like, she needed more men. So she just brought in random men without any STD control. But I think in this situation, they actually didn't even check for STDs. I feel like they just don't. Like, they don't even care. They're like, it's 1,000 men. Like, we're going to catch something anyway. So let's not even check. Which is so sad. Okay, so here's the moment we've all been waiting for, when we actually hear and see Ali talk about his experience. And I'm not even trying to be super mean here, because like, I don't know how you guys feel, but I really get this vibe that he's either just in a bad mental space, like the things he says and the way he says them. I mean, I feel like everyone who was at that place is probably not in their best mental state to begin with, but it's either that or like he just, maybe his IQ, I don't know. There's something up. But if you guys want to share, let me know. Let's hear him.
Hello, it's me, the unemployed security guard from the Daily Mail article who was at the Bonnie Blue mansion when she cheated 1,000 guys.
Apparently cheated is like English slang for effed. I didn't know that.
I got a phone call from the Daily Mail a few days ago, and they grilled me for half an hour, bro, with questions, yeah. I still chatted to them because I wanted clout, bro, which I've got, yeah. But
Like, this is the kind of thing that makes me wonder what's up. But what kind of person would want clout from something like this? You know, like, most people were hiding their face. They're like, I was here, but I was not here. Like, pretend you don't even know me, Bonnie, and all these people. And this guy's like, I actually want clout. Like, this is not a good thing to have clout from. And it just shows that our society just cares about that right now. Like, they just care about attention, fame, money, even if it's at the cost of being ridiculous, which is what's going on here. And also, a Daily Mail article is not really gonna give you all that much clout.
I did not tell them any information, bro, because they were interviewing me like a police interview, bro. And imagine you was at your friend's house, yeah, and a madness happened, and then the police wanted to interview you about the madness. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a snitch, bro. So I'd answer the questions.
Not a snitch, bro.
But I wouldn't.
And it's so funny because Bonnie Blue has literally been quoted. She's literally said herself that she does not care about any of these guys. Like, they're just guys that she has intimacy with for the videos. She doesn't actually care about them, which I get. Like, it's so many of them. You're not actually gonna care about all these random people, and it's not like they care about you either. But the way that he's like, oh, I don't want to be a snitch, bro. Like, he actually thinks there's some sort of bond there. Like, he has some sort of connection, whether with this girl or with all these people. It's just sad, man. It's just sad. Like, I can't even make fun of him. Like, it's just so sad.
Say nothing. I don't snitch on my friends, bro.
Like, what?
But yeah.
She's not your friend. She's using you to make money. And it's fine because all the guys, I mean, it's not fine. I don't condemn using anyone. I don't think it's good. That's why I'm making these videos. But I'm saying, like, in her head, she's like, oh, they're using me. I'm using them for actual clout and actual millions of pounds in her case.
What I'm saying is, if me telling the bare minimum, yeah, went viral worldwide, bro. Australia, Daily Mail, every single Daily Mirror, Daily Mail. If I said the bare minimum, yeah, and that went viral, bro. Imagine if I had said what actually went on, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Plus, yeah, bro, do you know the guy that's in trouble for all the parties, yeah? Has one person come out and said what actually went on at these parties? Hardly anyone, bro. Because, yeah.
I mean, I think we get the idea of what went on, you know?
Those that know don't say a thing. And what's the saying go? Those.
I think he's trying to quote the Tao Te Ching. It's that quote that's like, those who know don't say, and those who say don't know, which is true generally. It's a really good, like, philosophical, deeper quote. And I think he's trying to say that, but he's like, I'm not even gonna make fun of him because I actually don't know. I don't know what's going on with this guy. I don't know. I think he speaks for himself. I just won't say anything.
You know, don't say a thing. And anyway, I was there, bro. If anyone wants the real story, bro, you gotta pay me at least 20 bags. Any of you newspapers out there, if you want to know actually what happened at the Bonnie Blue Mansion, shout me 20 bags. I'll spill all their beans, bro. And
this is just so cringe. I hope he's joking with the 20 bucks, by the way, because if he does really know that much about this thing that's trending, and if it does have so many viral moments to share, I'm sure newspapers would pay him way more than 20. Like, I hope he's joking about that. But maybe he's not, and the Daily Mail or similar newspapers will see this. I'll be like, for 20 bucks, he'll tell us all this, and they'll just make him, like, sell his soul for, like, 50. Like, if for 20, he would snitch, supposedly, on his friends. For, like, 100, God knows what he would do. And this is also Ali. And remember, supposedly he said he didn't end up going through the process because he just felt really weird about it and he thought it wasn't intimate enough. But this is why I think it's weird, because he does have access to Bonnie Blue after. Like, we're gonna see now how he takes a video with her. So I'm like, is he lying? I don't know.
you're facing it. Bonnie,
Okay.
I'm just gonna give you the Just G beanie.
Oh, okay.
You're certified now.
Certified.
Yeah, put it on.
She's like, what?
Oh, I can't. I mean, but then I'm naked.
No, the beanie is a hat.
Right. Okay. Then. My nipples are out then. Okay.
Okay.
Girls like these have always been so cringe to me, but then all these guys come around and they do anything for 2 seconds with her, whether it's just to have her on camera or whatever, or even worse. But guys, that's enough with Ali. Let's actually take a look at what went on with all the other guys. This is POB at Bonnie's Blue. What is it? Is that like cursing in English slang? I don't know. POV at Bonnie's Blue, Bonnie Blue's meet and cheat. And then, because this is like someone's TikTok, so there's quite a few people that actually share that they were there. You can see the infamous line in the mansion. This is so cringe. Like, just imagine being in that line. Oh my god. POV waiting for your turn at Bonnie Blue 1000. Like, no wonder they're not talking. They're just like on their phone. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. I'm dying just watching it. Okay, so you can see them here. Some are like naked, they're like ready to go, and some are taking it more chill and still dressed. Then there's also this one, POV, your mom sent you to try and find your dad at Bonnie Blue's event, which I think is slightly fake because I just can't imagine a mom sending her son to be there. But the finding your dad there wouldn't even surprise me so much because Bonnie Blue said that she would do it with like the dad and the son at the same time. So that wouldn't even surprise me. So who knows, like it could be true at this point. Given the fact also that her own mother helps her, I'm sure there are moms out there that they're just, I don't know. It seems like these communities are weird. So maybe it's just one of these moms that is like, oh yeah, I'll send my son and my husband. And it's just more of the line. Oh, there's some talking going on. Good to see. Okay, this one has a song, so I cannot play the audio, but the naked ones gross me out so much. Like, at least wait for your turn, because these guys had to be there for hours and some of them are already naked. Like, it grosses me out so much. Just put on clothes. You'll have your turn at Degeneracy if you just wait a few hours. So let's look at this other guy. POV, waiting your turn at Bonnie Blue 1000. I was number 547. Oh my god.
Take a picture of the cup too if you want.
It's the naked ones for me. And the way he's proud, he's like, I was number 547. I feel like these are the guys that later they're like, no, I want a virgin wife. Which I get it if you want a virgin wife and you're like that kind of a person who has standards for himself. But if you're just standing at Bonnie Blue's line with 1,000 other men, I just hope to God you're not later like, no, my girl has to be pure and sweet, because you're like the opposite of that. And I get it, it's not the same for women and men. Like, women and men are influenced differently by promiscuity, and women and men look for very different things in the opposite gender. So I completely understand that, but this is not even one of those things. Like, this is like the extreme of degeneracy, to the point that anyone who's in the line, at least in my opinion, could never be like, I want someone who's this and that, because it's like, you're gross. Like, you deserve a gross person as well. Okay guys, now let's see what Bonnie Blue says regarding her amazing experience.
It's the day after I have just done the massive train of over 1,000 men. I was expecting to be sore, but I'm not. Like, my body wants it, so like, it's, yeah, I'm not sore, which is
honestly, I don't believe her. I mean, these people lie through their teeth. Like, I think she's just saying that to be like, oh, I'm not even sore. Like, there's no way, because she was there for 12 hours. There's absolutely no way she's not sore.
It's good.
And she has like a bruise in her thigh. Like,
because it just means I can do this more often.
She's definitely saying that I'm not sore thing to sell this image of, wow, I'm such a, that I can do this to this extent and keep doing it. Because that's the people who are buying her content, they're doing it because they think of her as like the biggest slut, you know? So the more she emphasizes that, the more money she's gonna make. So she's smart. She knows what she's doing it, even though it's a lie. And we'll talk about this later, but I think it's extremely concerning that she sells this lie of, I'm not even sore, I'm not even in pain, which again is physically impossible. Not just for a woman, for a man as well, to be 12 hours in the same position, even if you're not having sex, like 12 hours in the same position, of course you're gonna be in pain after. So it's very concerning that she's selling that, because all the degenerate or all the sick men that are buying this, or even the more innocent ones that they just don't really know how humans and women work, they're gonna be like, oh, like women can do this and they're not gonna be in pain. And that's just very sickening. Or even younger girls seeing this, they're like, oh, I can stand 12 hours in the same position, be with 1,000 men, and it's not even gonna hurt me. Not emotionally, not physically.
I tend to wake up saying needing to take painkillers, but I actually haven't whatsoever. And I'm the first to usually take, if I've got like a bit of a headache, I'm like, oh, pass me the painkillers. The thing that feels the most sore is my legs. Like, if I show you, my legs here are just, I think they're like fingerprints, to be honest. Got bite marks. I say to them all the time, like the dads, the husbands, the students, like, leave your mark on me, like spit on me, bite me, like make me yours for that amount of time. So I enjoy, like, when they've left marks, whether it's handprints, bite marks, bruises, like, I'm okay with that. I quite like it. I look at it and it reminds me It's a bit of
She's a whole psychopath. I said it in the last video. It's just the way she, like, look at her face. Like, that's not the face of someone normal with empathy. It's just, it's such a cold, like, glaze. She's like it's just creepy. She's just such a creep. Like, she creeps me out, and I'm not even easily creeped out. But okay, this is again even more concerning, because it's one thing for people, you know, who are consenting to do these things in their relationships or whatever. Like, you live your life in your privacy, if you're consenting, whatever. But again, it's once again selling this idea of leave your mark on women or leave your mark on these random girls. And this is problematic because it's not the same when you're consenting, when you're doing it in a relationship, as it is for casual things. Or the problem here is like younger people, because most of the people who are paying for her content and who are standing in these lines apparently are like 18-year-olds. And there's this huge concern nowadays with very young people getting into porn earlier and earlier and thinking that porn is real life, and their real life sexual experiences are becoming progressively more violent. And things like this only make it worse. Now guys, they're consuming this. They're seeing how much she likes it, apparently, because she's a whole psychopath. And then they go to younger girls and they do these things to these girls because, one, it's what they're consuming and what turns them on. And two, it's what they think it's going to turn these younger girls on. And then the girls are also seeing this and they're like, oh, this is what I have to do. When in reality, it's not something that most of them are going to enjoy, especially when they're very young, having first encounters with guys that they're probably in love with and that who are probably using them if they're watching these things. Regarding the Sims, we don't only have Ali, we have more guys here that are very proud to have taken part of this, and we're gonna share it. So let's take a look.
What did you get? Bro, I don't know, bro. I ain't even looking at the time still. Did you have a good time? Yeah. You had a good time, that was the main thing. Yeah.
I go first or last in my queue.
Oh.
The way he said, oh, it's just, that's just the O of a sig man. Not because he said oh in that way, but because he's saying oh in that way to the question being, would you rather be number 1 or number 1,000 with the same person?
I mean, you've already had me, so are you going to be selfish and go first again, or are you going to...
Do you know what? I'd probably go last.
Yeah, save the best till last.
Best till last.
Okay.
Again, you're going to be experienced, which you are anyway, but...
Nicely warmed up.
Nicely warmed up. Flowing, yeah.
This is beyond disgusting.
I think it was like 600 or something, that's what I've been told. But,
probably.
yeah. How did you find it? Has it been?
Great, yeah, no, it's brilliant.
Hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, this is the world we're living in today. I've even seen Bonnie some interviews or something, and they're actually like clapping for her. They're like, oh, she did 1,000. It's very sad to see this. And you know, there's one Lily Phillips, there's one Bonnie Blue, there's of course many OF girls doing crazy things, but the scary part is that there's 1,000 men willing, well, there's more than 1,000 men willing to stand in line for this, for the Lily Phillips 1,000 event. I guess now she's gonna have to do 2,000. I don't know. I don't think she's gonna survive that, to be honest, because she barely survived to 100, but she'll do anything at this point. In that one, she was saying how like 5,000 men signed up. So it's thousands of men who are signing up for these things, and thousands more who are signing up for their OFs. And we know this because they're making so much money. So we know they must have tons of subscriptions, and within those subscriptions, tons of men that are sending them money for crazy things. So it's just very sad, because even if it's still, or I'd like to think, to keep some faith in humanity, that even if it's like a small percentage of people who are doing these things, it's still quite a large number, you know? Like maybe it's like, I don't know what the percentage is, let's say 5%, probably more at this point, I don't know. But it's still like 5% of a whole society, a whole population is still a lot of people. And like I was saying in my previous video, it's one thing for, let's say, a young 18-year-old guy who's pressured by his friends to do this thing, or to lose his virginity, or he's in some sort of community that thinks this is cool and like it's a progressive thing to do and it's what young people are doing, and he signs up for this even though maybe he doesn't even want to do it deep down, or he's just so sick from porn and seeing these things and it's just so normalized that he thinks it's normal. It's one thing for that. I still think it's disturbing, but it's another thing for people like Ali. He's like 42, and he was saying that most people in the lines most men in the lines were very young, and he was one of the oldest ones. But it's like, what do you do? Like, it's weird if you're there to begin with, you know? But if you're like 42, why are you 42? Like, don't you have anything going on with your life? It's just so disturbing. And she was also boasting about how many husbands were there. And I mean, no words about the husbands. Like, imagine risking your health and your family and everything just to do this. just sick, disturbing people. And like I was saying in my last video, I don't even care about Bonnie Blue or Lily Phillips at this point. I used to feel bad for her, but at this point I just don't know if I should. And I don't even care so much about these guys because it kind of seems like they're too far gone. But what I do care about is the message that this is sending, right? Like to young girls, it's sending the message that you won't be in pain if you do something like this. You won't have any repercussions in society. Like people are just gonna clap at you. You're still gonna have men that will want you, even if it's just casually. Like honestly, I don't even believe so. Like I think most men will be repulsed at the idea of being with a woman like Bonnie Blue or Lily Phillips, but they will still find that one simp or sick man that will date them, and that will send a message to younger girls like, oh, like look, they got married. Like Haley, what is it? I forgot that corn star, H. Reid or something. Not Haley Reid. I don't know her name, but she got married. It's usually the exception, but you know, it does happen. And it's also sending the message of the crazier things you do, the more money and attention you generate. So for girls, it's not even enough anymore to just have a normal job or be a mom or whatever. Now they don't, but of course they think they have to do these crazy things. And for the ones that were doing this kind of content anyway, it's not even enough to just be like cute and take off your clothes, which again, I don't think it's something that young women should be doing to begin with. But now it's just not enough to do that. Now they have to be doing this insane challenges, and they're just going to end up bad because it's not going to stop at 1,000. Of course not. It's going to keep going until someone dies. Honestly, that's the way I see it. And for the men, what message is it sending the men? It's sending them the message that women like to be treated like this, that it's okay to do these things. It's okay to partake in these kind of events. It's normal. There's absolutely no problem. It's okay to be a degenerate. It's okay to be driven by your most primitive, lustful instincts. And that instead of being the protective sex, instead of protecting women and children and even other men from harm, your only focus, your sole purpose in this life is just to be a lustful piece of furniture. I mean, imagine spending your time, your effort, your energy in signing up for this or in signing up for their OFs. Like, you should, as a man or as a person in general, you should be doing a lot better things with your life than that. And of course, we know nowadays that there's very little intimacy left in sex. Most people just seem to be having casual sex left and right and do not see it as something valuable or special at all. And look where that's gotten us. But it's gotten to the point that it's not even a thing. Like, it's just like a handshake at this point, and events like this really do prove that. And that's of course very harmful, again, for men, because they're just continuing in this process of objectifying women and only seeing themselves as capable of doing this instead of living a much better and healthy life. And women are just getting the message that they should objectify themselves and they should partake in casual sex, even though it's so detrimental to women's mental health especially. So I don't know what you guys think. On one hand, she does want attention. Women like these, of course, they want attention, and we are giving it to her by talking about these things. But at the same time, I think it's so important to highlight where we're going and what's going on so that at least it can reach some people that might be turned, because there are some people out there that are like, is this right? Is this wrong? And those are the people that we need to reach. At least that's how I see it. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Please leave me your comments, your likes, subscribe so you can help my channel grow. Thank you so much, and I will see you in future videos.